Hi, this is Courtney, and this is kind of a combination of financial and also yoga therapy, if you will, or mindset, which is also what I focus on, intentional living. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that happened to me recently that was a really good learning lesson. I had, there was a conference that I was on the fence about attending in my field of yoga therapy. And long story short, I'm not going to get into it. There were some great things about it and there were some rough things about it for me. But in my gut, I had been feeling super burned out with work. I love my job at my clinic, but just I had felt burned out with the politics of my industry, if you will. Not necessarily the work I do day in and day out, but I was tired. I've been teaching 10 classes a week for a long time now, and then for every 10 hours I work, I do about another 10 in medical charting, and then I study constantly because I have to stay up working in the medical world with what's going on. I have to keep up with all of our patients and how they're doing. So I was just really, really tired. And I hadn't had a lot of work-life balance going on. And so I had made the decision not to go to this conference because I had all of the hours I needed. I didn't need any continuing ed, but I kind of got talked into it, and someone that I really respect and honor wanted me to go. And they gave me a really good deal, and I did go. And anyways, some things happened there that were not the most positive experience. Again, there were some really positive things, but overall it cost me around $2,500, maybe more by the time I got things I needed to travel. I honestly haven't added it all up, but it was somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 to go to this week-long conference in California. And in the whole grand scheme of things, being burned out, that was not the best decision for me. And I got there, and from the minute I left my home state, I was disoriented. I was feeling stressed. I felt out of sorts. I felt dizzy. I was having trouble thinking clearly. And I know it was anxiety. It was burnout and depression. And then I got there, and I had to deal with some kind of political BS from my industry that I didn't want to deal with. And it's just one of these things that, like, I went to this conference a few years ago and I absolutely loved it. And there were 99% of the people there were wonderful. And it was very affirming about that I'm doing good work and that the work I'm doing is in line with what other people do around the world. There were some awesome things about it, but I also know too much now and have been involved in too many things that I know some of the stuff that's going on, and there's always the cast of characters in anything. When I was in church government, you've got those people who have that bleeding heart and they want to help and they just think they're going to save the world. And then you have people who have an agenda that's a political agenda or financial agenda or whatever their agenda is, their ego's in it. And it's like, no matter what, you have that cast of characters. And so the whole point of this video is to say that sometimes in life, we have things that happen to us that are very expensive financially. They are very emotionally taxing. They might be physically taxing. This was all of that for me. And the way that I have dealt with that, a friend of mine named Shannon told me one time, I don't know if these were her words, but basically sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. Or that you think about it as an expensive education. And that's what I do now. And it helps me a lot. I still have not quite gotten back to feeling normal. I'm doing things, getting back in my routine. But, I struggle with anxiety. And even though I teach stress management for a living, I still have really severe anxiety sometimes. It manifests differently now than it did when I was younger. When I was younger, it was obsessive compulsive disorder, social anxiety. This time it was still social anxiety. I got to where I didn't want to go to the classes and things like that. And I had paid all this money to be there. But again, I'm not bashing the conference because it was a good conference, but there's just I learned that when I feel bad, or when I feel sad, or when I feel like I need a break, I need to listen to that. I need to not push myself to do things, and I need to believe in myself enough that I can say no to other people when they think I need to do something. And so that was the lesson for me. I think I was suffering from like panic attacks there, not in a outwardly sense, but a couple of times my friends like wanted to stay out and do some things, and I went back to my room early. Or there was one morning where I stayed in my room until pretty late and didn't go to class until late. I went to over 2/3 of the conference, but I skipped about 1/3 of it because of I just didn't want to be around people. And I ended up changing my flight to come home 2 days early. So the things I will tell you that help for me when I'm hurting or stressed are getting back in my routine, eating healthy, exercising, sleeping, not trying to put a bunch of things on my plate. I have a list a mile long of things I need to do. I've been only trying to do a couple of those each day. And just having a lot of self-compassion with myself and not trying to push beyond, and then reframing things as learning lessons or education, even if it's expensive education, so that you learn something to save you from making that same mistake in the future. I hope this rambling video on anxiety and on learning and reframing hard experiences helps you. Again, it's kind of a rambling video, and I don't know what I'm going to name it, but if you liked it, thumbs up and subscribe. I appreciate you being here. I do this as a hobby, and it means a lot to me if you spend time with me here. It's kind of an outlet for me, and your feedback is always helpful and appreciated. Thank you.